Hey, welcome everybody. We're gonna get started in just a minute. Got Surly Dev and Skinny Seahorse here early. Nice. I need to get one of those scene switcher things. Let's see, we'll jump to the main scene here. Finish going through my checklist. Did that, tweeted. Cool. I don't have any music playing. We'll try throwing on some music to code by. There we go, there's something. Alright. Who we got? Naturally, there was an update for Visual Studio 2019, so I thought I'd grab that real quick. I just did that on another machine, so I know it doesn't take too long. There it goes. Alright. Any requests for topics or questions or anything from folks before we get started? I have to admit that today I wasn't sure what I wanted to work on, so I just came up with this about 5 minutes ago, which means I'm not totally wedded to it and we could do something else if someone would rather. I have been working on this project for a bit though, and let's go out here and see our issue list and see what's left. This was a problem we were working on apparently 4 weeks ago. Figure out why this code isn't generating any links. Alright, so let's see if my brain is any better at figuring this out today than it was then. Skinny Seahorse, Surly Dev, no questions? Alright, let's go look at this page. So here's our app. We're going to run it. Well, let me make sure I've got latest. I think I do. I don't think I've done anything. Up to date. Alright, cool. So let's run it. And we're using Razor Pages for this, and we have a layout page here. And this layout page should have some links to places here in the nav. Alright, so the issue was that this worked, and this, that also worked. Okay, so what's the issue? href is empty for questions. Okay, well it seems to work for now, but I seem to recall it was only under certain conditions, like after I log in. So if I log in with that's not going to work. Let's register somebody else. Alright, so we'll save that. And we're logged in now. Questions still works. So maybe it just got fixed. Alright, that all seems to work. I'll tell my past self that I can't reproduce this. And we'll add it back in if I figure it out. Alright, so we have in here somewhere some seed data that we're running, and that includes the main user, maybe? So I think I have an admin user that's able to get to everything. Go to the Razor pages, archive videos. Alright, these require a role of administrator. Who has that role? Okay, create. App identity, alright, that's where the seed is. Okay, so it is demo user. Password 1. Alright, so let's put this information on that login page, because I want that to be there at least for now. So when we log out, we log back in, it's not there. Demo user, that should be the remembered password. Nope. And so we want that. Pass @word 1, which happens to be the same credentials as eShop on web. Alright, now that should get me to videos, and here it is. Here's my link that doesn't work. Alright. But that's not the same as this link. This link's always going to work. Alright, so there's my issue. So let's reopen this. And repro steps 1, log in with admin user, 2, go to here, archive videos, click on questions link in header. Man, what do we get when we do that? Right, so there's that. So the question is, oh, that's horrible. How do I escape that out? Maybe that'll do it. Hey, look at that. Alright. So the question is, why does that not render anything? And I keep getting bitten by the fact that my home page is not rendering the same content as everything else. So I have to remember that and eventually fix it. Alright. People keep texting me while I'm trying to stream. It's very distracting. Alright, so this archive videos is fine, but this questions is blank. So let's come back here, close this down. Let's go find that layout item. I already had open, I thought. See data we don't need anymore. Alright, so pages. Where's my layout? Right here. Alright. So this page is going to questions in the no area. And this one works fine. Why is that not working? Let's bring up our friend Google. And what does this say? Tag, helper, anchor, ASP page, renders blank. Anchor tab helper, right. So yeah, I think I've been here before. Does not create the link, right. Okay, right, that's what I'm seeing. This is a page name, not a URL path. Alright, that's what I'm using. Okay, well I gave it my page name and it doesn't work. So, thanks, but that's not helpful. ASP page, here's someone using that. And they said that works. Do I need to put a slash in front of it? I shouldn't. But let's try that. Alright, so go to videos, go to question. That seems to have done it. So it needs a trailing, or not a trailing, it needs a leading slash. This one didn't have one. Right? There's no leading slash there. I wonder if I add it, if it'll work. Probably. I don't think I need to rebuild for this to take effect, but we'll try it anyway. Hey Kramer, how's it going? So that still works, and that still works. Alright, so that was fixed. So let's do a quick commit. What issue did I end up giving us? 24? I think that's all it took. So, changes, fixed razor page hyperlink. This is number 24. Hey David. 24, 24. Commit all the things. And we're just going right to master. So sync, push. Okay, so I know that took me some time a few weeks ago, but it looks like it's all fixed up now, which is good. So we'll get rid of that issue, move on to something more interesting. Configure Azure to host a Docker image, create a Docker file to run the application in Docker. Let's do that. Let's play with Docker. I need to get better at Docker. So to do that, let's go in here, and I don't think I have Docker set up yet. So the nice thing about this is we can just add Docker support from Visual Studio. Let's see, I haven't done this in 2019, but I've done it in 2017. And is it up here? I thought it was on the project, but add. It's under the add menu, as I recall. Add container, no, add Docker support. That's what I want. So we're going to add Docker support here. It's going dev better. Nice. Alright, so we're going to add Docker support for Linux, because this is ASP.NET Core, so we can do that. And we'll say OK. And look at that, we do have a Docker file. Let's not do that then. Let's go look at that. Here it is. Okay. And this says we're going to do 2.1 SDK, copy all the things. Alright. I told you not to do that, so what are you doing here? I told it to cancel overwriting this file, but apparently that doesn't cancel the whole wizard, so now it's still trying to do something. Docker build. Is it going to try and run it in Docker? No source files were specified. Well, that's not going to work well, is it? Alright, just running through this Docker file, it's going to tell us that we can just run these two commands from the folder with the solution. So the solution is one up from here, but we'll go ahead and create a new PowerShell window for us. Run our Docker commands from there. So there's our solution file here, but our Docker file is not here. Our Docker file is in the web project, but that's okay because it's giving us the command we need here. So let's see if that works. See if copy paste will work. Copy. Love it when copy paste doesn't work. Okay, let's see how that goes. And yeah, I need to get another 2.2 image, of course, because I upgraded this to 2.2 at some point. So it should just be a matter of change that and boom, let it pull everything down. I have a fast connection, which is nice for this type of thing. Alright, so now it's running commands in the container, and it's actually building my whole project there. Now you can actually break this container up into two things, one that does builds and, oh shoot, one that hosts, and I just realized I didn't change this one here. So the runtime is still 2.1. That's likely to be an issue for us, but we'll see. Yeah, and it just got to that state. At that point, I'm going to kill this because it's just going to be a waste of time. Let's make this a 2.2 as well. Now this should go a lot faster this time because everything's cached. Yeah, see, it just flew right by all those previous steps. Now it's doing the build. Okay, so that publishes line 14 over here. Okay. And then it's going to switch to the runtime as soon as that's done, which would be, we're about now. There it is. Alright, so it's going to pull the runtime down. That'll take a minute. Hopefully not a minute. There we go. Done. The runtime's smaller. It's a lot quicker to pull in. And successfully built, successfully tagged, yada yada yada. Alright, so we're good. We can see it. So here it is, exited. That's a different one. Alright, we can't see it with that command, but that's okay. We're going to start the thing now. So now we're going to do this Docker run command up there. I'm assuming copy paste still doesn't work, so we'll just type it out. So let's say what some of these things do, right? IT means we want it to be interactive, so we want it to not just exit immediately, it's going to keep running, and I'll be able to interact with it on this terminal potentially. 5080 is mapping ports. This is on the container host side, and this is inside of the container. So I'm going to communicate with this on port 5000, and internally it's going to hit it as if it were port 80. It is listening on port 80 theoretically. We'll see how that works. So let's go ahead and run it. And you see here it's listing on port 80, but that's inside the container. So if I go to port 80, I won't get to it. If we come over here and we do localhost colon 80, there's nothing there. But if we do localhost 5000, we should see output from there. So boom, and we do. Alright, so there we go. So now we're hosting it in Docker. So that was actually quite easy. So then the next step would be, if we want to host this in Docker on Azure, I can modify how this thing is hosted on Azure. Because right now, devbetter.com is actually an Azure hosted site. And it doesn't have any of the updates that I've made recently to the project. Alright, but this is nice. So we've got this all working. We made some minor changes to the Docker file, and everything seems to work okay. Now we're going to want to have this talk to a real database at some point, which we could do sooner rather than later. But I think for just the purposes of this issue, I think we're good. So this one's done. And Dockerfile already existed, so I think it's been done for a while. But we'll just go ahead and commit this. Go changes. We just updated the SDK. Update Dockerfile netcore version to 2.2. And what do we change here? Linux, that's fine. Okay, so commit all those things, sync them. How do I sync there? Sync them, push. Alright, I forgot to reference the issue I was fixing, so we'll just close this out. And move on to other issues. The next issue was configure Azure to host this Docker image from last October. So let's go look at what we've got in Azure. Nice. You should try logging in. Well, you should give me a login link, shouldn't you? That's me. Let me go to the portal. Alright, so let's go to all resources and filter down to dev better. Alright, so there we go. And this is my site here. And currently it's not using Docker, it's just using a standard web app. Let's see, app service plan. I'm not sure if you can change it once you've created it, or if I need to just create a new one. I probably need to just create a new one. Let's just Google what this looks like. Web app for containers. I think that is what I want. Dun, 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 dun. Deploy to Azure, ship updates, get started. Do I have CI/CD on this? I thought I did, but maybe I never set that up. That'd be another thing for me to configure. Because I don't have, oh, I do have an Azure pipeline, and I do have that succeeding. Alright, so I could do this. Wow, that's small. So Dave's question is trying to figure out what advantage Docker provides, and so far it's in what I'm showing you. It's not anything life-altering. The main thing that Docker is nice for is that it's very, very portable. So now that I have a container that I've demonstrated that runs my app successfully, I can take that same container and put it anywhere, and it should work. You know, if I decide I don't want to host it on Azure anymore, and I want to host that image, that container on AWS, on their Docker, or on my own Docker server that I've got set up, I can take that and just move it around as a unit, right? It's better than an assembly in .NET world, because just assembly in .NET doesn't have all the pieces you need, right? It doesn't have Kestrel, it doesn't have IIS, it doesn't have config files, right? You have to package all these things together in terms of both your code, but also the actual thing that will host your code, right? And so this Docker container that I've defined here, if I go back to the Docker file, this includes the runtime and everything I need to actually run this app, right? It's not just my code, it's my code and all the stuff needed to run it. And so this entry point says to run .NET with this DLL as my code, and expose that with whatever I tell it here with this Docker run command. And so just those two things together make it so that on any system, whether it's Windows or Linux, as long as it's got Docker support, I can host this app. So it's not so much an advantage for me directly on Azure as it stands right now, but it does give me some compelling portability advantages. It also gets rid of the "it works on my machine" thing, because I can also take this Docker image once I've created it, and I can put it on, say, a QA person's machine,
and they can test this version of my site and know that, you know, when they build it from this image or from this Docker file, it's going to be exactly the same as what I wrote and what I tested on my machine. And it's not going to matter if I'm running on Windows 10 and they're running on a Mac, or even they're running on Windows 7 or whatever. As long as they can run Docker, they're going to get the same thing, right? And it doesn't matter if they didn't install 2.2 of ASP.NET Core, because that's only inside the Docker image. They might not even have ASP.NET Core installed on their machine, but as long as they have Docker, they can run this. And that's true for whatever, right? Maybe they don't have Node, maybe they don't have Ruby, right? Whatever it is that you're using for your software development, you can just put that inside this image, and now whoever, as long as they have Docker, can run that image and have all that stuff available to them without having to actually install it all. So that's one of the big advantages of Docker. All right. So AZ web app deployment slot create. Do I want to do that? The other thing that's nice about Docker containers is scalability, but of course you can do that anyway with a web app in Azure. But you could do stuff with a bunch of different containers that kind of work together in some fashion. You can scale each container independently. So those are other advantages. Let's go app services. Let's see if we just create a new app service. Add. Let's see what this looks like. We'll say dev better container. I think I'm on my number 2 subscription. Use an existing. Do I have an existing? Use an existing resource group, and it can be there, and that's fine. Okay, so is that all I need? How do I tell it? I don't really want it to have a different URL, but I guess that's not an option. I can name it devbetter3, but we'll do it with this. Let's see. Alright, none of these. Here's the part I don't believe. Getting started is easy. You know what? I just want to use the portal. Where's the option here that says I can use the portal? And by the way, why is this thing so small in your font here that I can't even read it by default without boosting my zoom so high? Alright, so create a resource group, create an app service plan with Linux. Todd Baginski. I really don't think you're expecting random customers to be able to type all that stuff, and you don't even provide a way for me to get to that code here. Alright, let's see if this is easier. I want to have an app service for .NET Core, I guess. Web app for containers with a school. Okay. I don't have a worker school login. Select your Docker image. Still .NET Core. Go. Sign in. Me. Sure. Alright. My services are being provisioned. Work with your web for containers. Joyous Wolf. Alright. Clone or push with Git. Yeah, okay, we can do that. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Your free app container will expire in an hour. Alright. You know I have an account, right? I just signed in. So, why don't I just use my subscription? Hey, Raiders from Carrie Payette, welcome. Thanks, Carrie. Trying to figure out how to do a web app for containers on Azure, and it isn't letting me use my actual Azure subscription, so I'm trying to sort that out. And if I come here, I'm not seeing where it is. Create a resource. Sure, let's discard that. Web app for containers. There's that. Alright, maybe I just didn't search the right place. Okay, so let's do web app for containers here. We're going to create. You did, you rated. I see it. It says 8 raters came in, so thank you. What were you working on before, Carrie? I have no idea if this will have any relevance to what they were working on. Was that your first raid? Let's see. This will be dev better container. We know that exists. We'll use my existing dev better resource group if I can find it. It's on the other subscription. That one. Want to be Linux container? Maybe? Configure container. Alright, app service plan and location. Stream Deck emulator in Node.js. No, not your first. Okay, cool. I didn't think it would be because you've been streaming longer than I have, I think, but you weren't sure about the RAID thing. So definitely, again, thank you. And I'm not doing anything with Node.js at the moment, but we are playing around with ASP.NET Core and at the moment Docker and Azure. Sweet. Thank you. Lots of bits. Alright, so need to create an app service plan, I guess. I don't know what to pick for that. We'll leave that alone. Configure container. I'm going to pass you in the container, aren't I? Can I just give you the Docker file? Quick start sample, static site, ACR, I don't have one of those. Docker Hub, I didn't do anything with that. Private registry. Compose. We're not doing Kubernetes. I don't need a Python Flask sample. Okay, I can build a sample here with Linux and SQL Server. Thank you, Michael. You guys can fight for it. Alright, none of these are what I want. I want to specify that I want to push the Docker file that I've already created out to this web app. I'm not sure why that's not an option. Use their own containers and deploy them to app services as a web app. Yep, that's what I want to do. App eliminates time-consuming management tasks, scaling. Nice. Where is your Docker container? Is it in ACR? No, I haven't set up ACR. Currently I've got it running only locally. Like I literally just built it and ran it here. So I don't have it somewhere that Azure can get to, but I'm hoping I can just deploy it from my local machine to Azure and be done with it. Is that not possible? Like, here's my Docker file. Here's me running it from the Docker file, and that works fine. So how do I push it? You had to set up an ACR. Alright. Well, let's go do that then. So an ACR is a Azure Container Registry, which I have not set up before, but let's do that. So we want to create a new resource, I guess. It'd be great if that link did something. So we'll go here. Container Registry. Create Docker Azure. It's a private registry for hosting things. You can store Docker images. Integrates with other stuff. Alright, so let's create this container registry. Enter name. Dev better registry, I guess. Registry then container registries for my edge images. Okay. Resource group will still be this dev better 2 resource group. I don't know what this does. Registry name as username and admin user access keys. Okay, sure, why not? So we'll create this registry. Okay, good. I set that to enabled. I did the right thing. Thanks, Michael. Now once I have a registry, I need to be able to push stuff to it. So Docker push container to registry. Alright, so I think I need to do this stuff. All resources. There's my registry. Alright, so I now have a container registry. It's got a login server here. Let's make some notes on how to push this thing. So, DevOps, that's a good place for this. We're going to add a new item. Should be this text file. Docker login UCR, then Docker tag your image and Docker push that tag. Docker login. Okay. Let's take those steps and write them out here. Login, Docker tag, Docker push. Great. All right. Let's see what that looks like. So over here, shut this thing down again, and we want to do Docker login. I'm assuming to my URL. Let's just do help. And you want to log into a Docker registry, Docker login option server, password, username. Okay. I don't know what username it's going to want. Maybe my email address? Docker login -u -p something. And then server name is still, you're still not letting me copy paste. Better registry.azure.cr.io. Right, let's see. That should fail because my password's not right. Use password standard in. Oh, that's smart. I could do that. Dash password standard in. Presumably that'll let me type it without anybody seeing it. Error response, get unauthorized authentication required. I'm trying to authenticate. Well, it didn't ask me for a password. And I'm still not sure what my username is. Access keys. I could probably create an access key. There's some passwords. Those probably shouldn't be visible. Now I'll have to reset them. But let's see if they work for now. So we'll copy that password. I still don't know what my username is. Is it just admin? Is it my... Oh, there it is. Okay. Fine. So let's kill this. See if we can get this to work before you guys all hack my registry. Be nice if copy paste worked, wouldn't it? Oops. Alright, this did not work at all. -p paste. Hey, that worked. Login successful. Awesome. Alright. Those probably shouldn't be visible here, I'm thinking. Anyway, we can take that and put it in my notes. See if I can copy it. Region. Actually, this won't really work if I keep sharing it on stream. So let's do that. And we'll regen these. There. We'll go stop showing those, and then we'll come back to that. Alright. I'm so smart about the streaming stuff. Okay, so hang on. Got one more thing I need to do. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so then the next thing we want to do is a Docker tag, I think. Coding Bandit, step by step. Thanks, Carrie. Hi, Ancient Coder. Provision, container registry, create that, did that alright. Create the thing, copy the password. See, they had to blur those out by hand. Those ought to just be like all stars or something. They shouldn't show them. Create the things, configure the things. I don't know what any of this has to do with me creating the container. I feel like it's not related to containers. Container registry. Yeah, but at some point it's going to actually register something with that container registry, isn't it, Carrie? That's the next thing I need to do, right? Alright. There's a lot of other stuff here, but I thought if they're going to do all this that they would actually push it to the registry. Like, why'd they create the registry at the start of this if they aren't going to push something to it? No Docker push. No Docker tag. Sorry about the dings. Alright. Not seeing that. Okay. So the next thing, according to Michael, that we need to do is Docker tag, right? So we're going to say Docker tag help. Not Docker, but an image. Alright. Source image, target image. Well, my source image is that guy, I think. But it doesn't have the name I wanted to give it. I built the thing and gave it a name. I used the Docker build instructions that were right here. But that didn't give it a name. But why? Why is it not showing up? Because I don't think that is any of these. It might be that one. I just didn't give it a... Yeah, it must be that one. That's the one. Alright. So why does it never give it a name here? That's something that bothers me. If you don't use a compose, it won't give it a name off a Docker build. You can only do it on the Docker run. And when I did Docker run, did I give it a name? Yeah, dev better web. But it's no longer running. So it didn't have the name. Alright. So there's that. Still from 29 minutes ago. Alright, my Docker tag instructions. It's my Docker image. 26 seconds ago. No repository, no name. There's the web one, latest. Is that the one I created? I think it is. That's this. Right? If I say docker run name, right, that's not what I thought it was, so that's looking for this. So it's going to use that one, okay. If I want that to run not like that, we'll just shut off immediately. No. I need two windows to be able to get to that. Already in use, alright. So there it is. Running on image web. Okay, so that's my image. I think. So when I want to tag it, I want to tag image web. I believe. So we want to do docker. Where's your docker? Alright. Docker tag web latest, and this will be dev better web latest, maybe that's what I want. Didn't fail, so that's a good sign. Let's see if we throw that over here so I can come back to it. Alright, now we're going to do a docker push. We're still logged in, so let's see. That's all I need. Repo. Did the login. So my add Docker cheat sheet here that I'm looking at in the other window tells me I just need to run docker push whatever my thing's name is, whatever my image name is, and then whatever version I want it to be. I probably don't want to name it latest though, do I? Which I just did with my Docker tag. Maybe I'll name it 10. So let's do the different tag. So it's 10. That should be fine. Requested access to the resources denied. Why would that be? Activity log. You gonna show me anything interesting here? Create it. Alright, did that. Access control. Grant resource. Right, so usually these things are super locked down when you start. So I'm going to add a role assignment to me. And my role will be resource. What can I do? ACR push. That sounds good. Let's save that. Alright. Now I don't know if I'm logged in as me or not. But let's try this. Nope. So either I'm not logged in as me or it just didn't take effect that quickly. It's behind your head. What are you talking about? What's behind my head? VS Code extension is... Oh, I see what you're saying. It's behind my head on the stream. Alright. Let's add another role assignment to Who am I logged in as? That's the part I don't know. System assigned identity. No, I did log in as... I logged in as Docker Registry. So how do I find that? No, I see. I know what you mean now, Carrie. Find. There's no user with that name. So why was I able to log in with it? Let's talk about these access keys. Admin user is enabled. Admin user's username is Docker Registry. There's a couple passwords here that I'm not going to show you. But there's no way for me to tell that Azure user that they are allowed to push. So under access control, view role assignments, these are Azure users or Azure AD people. Let's try user assigned. Better. There aren't any, right? That's not what it is. System assigned. No, it's not going to be this either. No. Alright, so it's a classic administrator. It's not, it's just the username for this ACR. Alright. How to push a Docker image to Azure Container Registry permission denied. Push Docker image to private Azure Container Registry. Roles and permissions. Alright. I did that. Why do I want to do anything with Nginx? This is just a tutorial. Alright. That's not helpful. Alright, authenticate with a private Docker Container Registry. Alright, here's what I'm using. Okay, I did this. This is my admin username, right? But I don't have authorization to do my push. It's hardly an admin account if it's not able to do a push. Requested access to the resources denied. Do I have to give it the... Maybe I shouldn't have to give it the URL that I'm going to. because it's already logged into it, so it must be pushed into the right place. Options. PowerShell window, you can't see it if it's over there, that's what you're telling me, so I'll move it over here. Right about there should be visible. Okay. I don't know what the actual requested access is. I was only assuming that was a push. Let's go out to Azure again and see if there's anything in this registry. Is there any way to interrogate its contents? Successful push count 0. Alright. Metric. No push, no pull, no nothing. Alright. The Michael Jolly. Any ideas for what I'm doing wrong here? I logged in as an admin. Why can't I push the container? You need to tag it as Docker Registry /. Alright, that's interesting. Is that something I need to do? What's my registry called? Dev Better Registry? Dev Better Registry. Alright. Like that. Push refers to repository Docker.io. I'm not using Docker.io. Okay, no different. So do a Docker login, did that. Tag it as your Docker hub name / whatever. Login. let's try it. See if we can get hello world working. Alright, Docker pull hello world. Okay. You must tag it with the fully qualified name, the login servers of the format, whatever, so it might be that. Alright, so maybe that's what I'm missing. Registry, overview, login server name, that, click to copy. Tag the image, replace with the login name. The whole thing. Okay. That whole thing slash hello dash world v1. That works. Now push it. Unauthorized. But I logged in already. Well, that worked. Alright, so I logged in, then I did a Docker push of hello world, and that worked. So what I think it must be the issue is I need to tag it with that whole name. Right? So let's go back to here. Let's copy this. Tag dev editor web v1, that's fine. And Docker push that whole thing. Alright, so let's do these two commands. You really don't want to let me copy paste from here, do you? There we go. How does it not have two arguments? Oh, I guess it doesn't have two arguments, does it? That was web. I want to tag web latest. There we go. Alright, so on here this had to be web. Alright, and then this might finally work. check it out. That actually worked. Alright, so there's all my actual working commands. That's useful. Now, if I can remember what the heck I was trying to do, I think I was trying to create a new resource, which was a Azure container container web app. I don't remember what it was called. Container app service. Give it to Azure. Container app service. That's not web app for container. Okay, that's what it was. Great. Web app for containers. Okay. Do better container. Over here. Use our existing group. Linux. That's fine. Okay, so we got to this point, and we said we want to use Azure Container Registry, which we now have one of. Nice. And we can say we want the dev-better-web image with the tag of v1 and the startup file of I have no idea. Startup file, is that this? Maybe? Get any help on that? No. Image source, web for container startup file. What is that? Specify your compile DLL name as. It is that. Alright, cool. That's already in my container though, so I shouldn't need it. .NET space whatever. Okay. Like that. Boom. Create this thing. Everything about this is super intuitive. Alright, so if this works, then I should be able to get to the same thing at devbettercontainer.azurewebsites.io, right? Feeling I'll be rewatching this one a few times to pick it up. Yeah, me too, dude. Obviously this is me struggling through things and not a polished demo. Alright, so it's still working up here. Deployment in progress. So it should tell me that it's ready here in a minute. Once I get all this working, I'll try and do a blog post about it as well, if for no other reason than so I know how to do it again next time. devbettercontainer to azurewebsites.now. Let's see if this works. It's not quite ready yet. Status is running. Now Azure has about 3 or 4 different ways of doing containers. Whoa, check it out. Alright, so this is now running in a container in Azure in a container app service. So that's cool that we got that to work. Let's go back to the portal. What's this thing called again? Yeah, container app service. And we had to have an Azure Container Registry in order to get this to work. But once we did, all we had to do was push it up there to the registry, and then this thing is pointing at the registry to get its container. And if I make an update to the file in the container, somehow I can redeploy it here. I wonder how that works. So I would just update this here maybe and set it to a new tag. So what does this look like? Here's dev better blah blah blah. Alright. Let's make a change. So we're going to come into our home page. Where's my home page? I've still got to go into an index, a static file here. www index. Alright. So in the, do I have a title? I must have a title. Title, dev better. Container. We'll do that simple change there. And then script back out what I need to do. I think I need to rebuild the thing from here. Alright, so we're going to Docker build that. This should rebuild my container, which I can then retag. I don't need to run it. I can skip that step. Alright, so that succeeded. Now I want to tag it again with this, but I'm going to tag it v2. Docker tag that. Okay. Now we're going to push v2. I'm assuming I'm still logged in this window. And this should be pretty quick because the other layers all exist. So notice that we didn't have to push the whole thing. We just had to push basically our diff, which was tiny, so it's actually fairly fast. Now if I go back out here, let's see, notice in the title bar it does not say container, right, in the title. So we're going to come over here and we're going to change this tag to be something new. I wonder what continuous deployment does. Will it pick up whenever I get a new one? Let's see, I think I have to refresh. I need to see the different tags. There it is, there's v2. And we'll save this. And settings were updated successfully, which means when I make a request to this thing, it's probably going to restart, so it might be slow. But when it comes back, I'm expecting it to give me a different title tag. That's not what I'm getting. Yeah, so I updated this. Dev better container. I created and built and tagged a new container and pushed it up to the Azure Container Registry. So what did I do wrong? You're looking at V2 now. V2 should have the updated title. Download newer image, V2. Okay. If I run it locally, what do I get? Let's see. Back to the Docker file. If I run this, let's see what I get on port 5000. You say you can't run. Yeah, because it's already running. We'll do 5001. Already in use, fine. Alright, so what do I get on 5001 is the question. Still no. Well, I did save my change, did I not? It's right there. Unless I'm wrong and I'm not using that page anymore. Maybe I should change a different page instead of that home page. Oh, now there's build failures. What? It's because you're trying to do a Docker build in this. Why are you doing that? See you, Kramer. Get some sleep. Alright. Let's look at that error again. So why is it doing a Docker build? I'm not sure where it's being told to do that. There's no Docker project in here. Well, let's see, this will tell me what it's serving. So it's matching it with homecontroller.index. Really? Oh, I did do that, didn't I? Alright, that's my problem. I'm an idiot. Because this thing has layout nothing. I keep forgetting that I did that. You know what I need to do? I need to change this here. Just rename it. Not used. Because that's what's used in the current production site, but it keeps screwing me up here when I try and do stuff with it. Alright, so if I want to set the title of something interesting here, container view, save that, and now let's do those steps again. So I can't actually build this for some reason, but that worked. Okay, so now break out of this. Do that. Now we're on the version 3. Push it to version 3. That should be fast. Come back here, close these down. Refresh this. Choose version 3 in the drop-down. Correct. Save it. Go back to the home page, so I have a link to click on. There's my link. Alright. And still no? Really? Alright, how do I deploy this thing then? Pretty sure it built. Oh, I didn't do the Docker build. That's what I didn't do. Oh, I'm an idiot. Alright, we need to do this. So do that. That's what's going to actually create the thing for me. Gotta do all the right steps. And of course, once you've got all this done, you just script it so you don't have to think about it again. Alright. So there's that. Making updates. Step 1. Make changes in solution. Step 2. Docker build. This is the step I forgot. Step 2. From folder with SLN file. Do that. Step 3 is Docker login as above if needed. Step 4 is the tag. And step 5 is the push. Alright, now we should be done with Docker build. Tag it to v4. Push it to v4. Alright. Done. Okay, so now I should be able to get back to the portal. I should be able to go back to container settings. That's the other thing I need to specify. Okay, step 6. Go to Azure portal, container settings, tag, in. Right. There it is. Save it. And still no? Really? This is vexing me. Ah, there it is. Good. Something must have been cached. Whew. Okay. So that actually worked. So that is how, look how easy it was, right? That is how you create a container for an ASP.NET Core app, push it to your own registry, and then make updates to it. So let's do some git commits and be done with this. can turn this back. Get rid of this. Save it. Back here we can do done it build. Which I don't even really need to do because Docker's going to actually do that. So when I say Docker build, that's going to do a done it build also. In fact, technically I don't even have to have .NET installed for this to work because it's all happening on the container. If I am going to build it myself, then I could make my container a little more efficient by getting rid of all the build stuff and just having the deployment stuff. Alright, now we're going to tag it with v5. Push v5. Done. Back out here. Go to our dashboard. Go to container settings. Go to tags. Pick v5. Save it. And then go back to the overview. Oh wait, where are you not done? Okay, done. I'll go back to the overview. Go back to our site and verify that it's not there. It is there, but it's going to go away in a minute. It's just not there yet. There it is. Now it's gone. Alright. So it takes a few seconds after the deploy for it to pick up. The nice thing is there doesn't appear to be any downtime. So it didn't shut down. It just did a swap. So as soon as that new container was up and live and ready, it did a swap for us. Not sure what's going on with my nav here. It's not loading. Looks like it's not loading CSS. But I'm not seeing any issues with CSS. It's weird. That does not happen locally. So the login page has no styles. But there's no 404s or 500s. Huh. It's weird. Anyway, let's go back here and look at our issues. Configure Azure to host Docker image. I'm going to say that's done. So close that issue. Add Markdown based show notes for each video. Okay, let's see if we can do something with that. So let's try and just build this locally. Or run it locally, I mean. It keeps wanting to blow up with Docker issues. Telling me Docker shared drives are not enabled. So let's just fix that. Volume sharing, settings, yeah. Project files. Settings. drives, do that, apply. Alright, so now it's happy. Okay. Okay, so for each video, Markdown based show notes for each video. So when I add a video and I have show notes, I thought I already had that. Archive video, create, has title, video URL, but no show notes. Okay, so we should add that. So we come over here, video, title, URL, questions. In addition to a title, we need some show notes. It's easy enough. And then we want to be able to add those in the UI. Should be about the only place I need to mess with it. And that's going to look a lot like the title here. Right. And we want the same thing for edit. Delete should be fine, but index maybe wants to show it. No, notes will be too long to show there. Let's just do it on details. Alright, so that should get me to where I can enter them. Nothing about them being Markdown based. Alright, we're still getting Docker errors. Not sure why. This one's still running. Alright, so one cool thing about Docker is you can use a subset of a container ID, not have to type the whole thing. And if it's unique, then it'll work. I don't know if that was why my build wasn't working, because that one was still running. But maybe it was. Nope. Alright, so I can build, but I can't run. When I go to run, it wants to run Docker. Where is that? Application, build events, profile Docker. Oh, okay, that's what it did. It created a new profile. Let's do that. What's up there? All right. Okay, so the question is, why is Docker failing? But in the meantime, let's just do this. We'll run it outside of Docker. We'll go to videos. We'll log in. We will create a video. Thought you were an admin user. Why can't you create videos? Maybe you're not an admin user. Maybe you had to do admin at. Can't remember these things. There's our seed. Demo user admin at test.com. There we are. Default password, pass @word1. Alright. Log out, log in. Admin at test.com. Log in. Videos. Hey, thanks for the follow, Gunblade. Appreciate it. No, I don't need to translate this page, but I do want to create a new video called vid3, which has some notes. Create. Let's do 4:10:19. Alright. I probably want some validation on these at some point, and I'm also going to want this date created to have a nicer label for it, which I can do with some annotations. Display name, I think it is, on the model. So let's go to my entity for archive video and display NASME, NAM, display name, using system component model, show notes. Alright. Now at some point, I probably want to not do this in my actual model. I probably want to do this in a view model, in a DTO of some sort. But we'll do it like this for now, just to verify that it's going to work for me. And this can be date video URL. Hello, Himich, it's Craig. It's hard. Password is way insecure. Yes, it is, Brendan, yes. Totally is. To be fair, it's the one I got off of eShop on web. It's the standard sample password. Alright, so in here now, if we go to videos, we've got a space in here, we've got a space in there, so that works. Neither one of them is required, though. Like, date created is not required, I don't think. So, create, nope, that one is required. That's just because it's not null, maybe? But it's not going to know whether I put a date in or not, so we're just going to get an ugly error here. Oh no, it does know it's a date. Smart. Sweet. Alright, I was taking care of that previously. Title I think should be required. And it's not. So let's make it required while we're doing this. Show notes are not required. That's interesting. Component model is only needed for that, but data annotations is needed for that. Alright. Hey Matthew Groves, nice of you to join. Alright, so we gotta add a new one now. Title is now required. So that works. Cool. Alright, so I would like for show notes to actually be formatted as a text area that eventually I could have a Markdown rich editor for. So what's a tag helper for a text area? Does this thing exist in the actual framework, or is it only something Dave Paquette added? Alright, so my question is that something that's built in, or is that something that he made? He has a habit of making things that the framework doesn't but should have had. Let's go to create, input, only doing this on create, so let's see what that looks like. Look at that. Alright, so that is built in. Can't make it any wider at the moment, but alright, now if we look at the details for that, we get some details. Okay. So I probably want that to be formatted like pre or something. I probably want to have some show notes listed there. So let's go to details. Let's make sure that's all good. That's here. Display name for show notes. I only did it here. I didn't do it down here. Oh, I see what I did. Okay. Titles, date created. Okay, I got only half the equation. I need the DT. And that's this. I could probably wrap this in a pre-tag, and it'll probably look better. Pre requires an end tag. Yeah, it's right there. Back to this, back to this. Details. That'll work. Okay. There's probably some client-side JavaScript Markdown thing to convert Markdown into something pretty, I'm guessing. Or maybe it's just server-side. Let's see. You get Markdown to HTML. HTML to Markdown. Reverse Markdown to HTML to Markdown. That's not what I want. That's still not what I want. I want Markdown to HTML. Anybody have a recommendation on a Markdown tool? Let's see, ASP dot. Let's see what Rick Strahl's got for us. He's got a library for Markdown tag parser. Install package that. Okay, let's look for that. That sounds like what I want. So we're going to go here, go look to manage NuGet packages, westwind.asmet core. Markdown. It doesn't say how many down. Oh, there it is. 16,000 downloads. Okay, install that. 16,000 people can't be wrong. All right. So then, how do I use this thing? Quick overview. Have some Markdown and wrap it in that. So instead of pre, I want to use Markdown. Right? For using Razor, there's an HTML string. Use the Markdown tag helper. You can just use Markdown. You can also bind it to model values. Alright, that's what I want, I think. Let's see how good Rick is. He's usually very good. So instead of display for that, I think I just want that with maybe this. So I don't think I want that. Let's see what that does. I'm going to have to update my seed data with something. Details. Nothing. Alright, so far I'm not impressed. What else did I miss? Did it need that model? Model Markdown. Okay, maybe it does. I know it didn't need the lowercase model. Does it still need the uppercase model? And if it needs it, why isn't it blowing it up and telling me? I would think it would blow up. Still not there. I'm really hoping that this tag helper is in this NuGet package and not something I have to create. I do need that though, don't I? Alright, so in view imports I need that. Shared. View imports. I don't think I need that, especially since it's blowing up on me now. Ancient coder, you could add rows equal 4. I got rid of my text area, though I'm just using Markdown now. Oh, look at that. Nice. Yeah, I didn't need the app model. Just it's in quotes and it's just referring to the model I've got. So that actually worked not too difficult. Let's try something more real. Let's edit this. I wonder if this could be a Markdown editor. Okay, edit definitely needs to have multiple rows. Yeah, ancient coder, I'm with you. Let's do that. So let's look at create first, because I already did some stuff with it here. So I don't need that. Text area, rows equal, say 10. Let's do the same under edit for show notes. There. Let's see if we can do this without even reloading it. We can. Look at that. So this would be video about using Markdown in ASP.NET Core. In this video, we talk about some stuff. How about that? Save that. Details. Hey, see, that works pretty well. Nice. Alright, so I need to just kick that, and I really need to put that into some seed data so I don't have to mess with it again. So copy that, we'll go in here, go find my seed data, where I add these videos. Show notes equals something like this. And that might work. Build that. So it's video 1 is now going to have that. Start from scratch. Go to videos. Go to video 1's details. Look at that. Alright. Alright, so then I just need to make this videos listing here look nicer and be public for everybody. And we're almost ready to publish this thing for real. So it's working out alright. And I'm done ahead of schedule. I got some stuff that I wanted to working. So that's good to go. Let's do a commit. Go back to Visual Studio for it this time. Go to home, go to my changes. Added Markdown support and show notes. Commit all the things. Sync, push. Alright, if anybody wants this stuff to look at and see what we did, it's out here at GitHub Ardalis Dev Better Web. And with that, let me see if I can find somebody that we can go and raid with our group here. So pick a person. I don't know, who's on right now? I always have trouble finding that. You still here, Brandon? What's the easiest way to find someone that's currently on? How do you do it? Or Carrie if you're still around. Like I can go usually Ed Charbonneau or Clarkio. Maybe he's on. Looks like Clarkio's on. We'll try him. But I have like totally no automated way to do this. So there's Clarkio. Alright, before I raid with all of you, this is your last chance to follow me. I'll be back in a week. There you go. Somebody's taken the hint. Thank you very much, Tokan. Appreciate it. Alright, so we're going to raid over to Clarkio. If my luck is usual, he's probably wrapping up and he'll be done like 5 minutes after y'all raid him. But let's see, 14 viewers are ready to raid. Cool. Go check out what he's working on. One of these days I will add all the cool widgets and things that he's got on his stream to mine, so that it'll be a lot more interactive as you add things in the chat and play sounds and things like that. And with that, I'll see you later. Thanks.